Welcome, everybody, to day one of Event Professionals Now, a choose your own adventure virtual experience. I am so excited to announce our opening session. It is From Chaos to Clarity, Mastering Multi-Event Excellence in 2025. We've got the amazing Sarah Straw here. She is the real deal from Deel. She's got over 16 years of marketing excellence. She executes strategic events and field marketing initiatives that generate leads, accelerates pipeline growth, and is able to build strong customer advocacy. She currently leads the events and field marketing team at Deel. It's an all-in-one payroll and HR platform for global teams. So if you've got a team that's all over the world, they can take good care of you. They develop impactful strategies that fuel, market expansion and deliver measurable results. I mean, hello, we're dealing with the entire world here. All right, previously, Sarah served as the head of global events at Ring Central, and she led the events portfolios on leading tech companies like F5 and Sage Software. Now, beyond that corporate role, she is the founder and host of Solo Travel Women's Blog, and even has a podcast, and is also the author of The Ultimate Guide to the Solo Travel Woman. She inspires women to embrace freedom of solo travel. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the real deal herself, Sarah Straw, to the stage. Sarah, welcome.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I'm so excited to be here. Welcome, everyone. I am so honored and proud to be your opening presenter here at Event Professionals Now. As Jeff went into, I lead global events and field marketing at Deel. I started here in January, and it has been just a whirlwind of fun and experiences. And what I love is what I'm about to present to you today is what my team is currently going through and what we are navigating. So I'm in it with you. I've done it before, but I am here in the trenches with all of you as we navigate event complexity. So I've been doing this it'll be 17 years in May, which is crazy to think about. And predominantly have been, like Jeff said, within the SaaS and HR technology space. And for the past 10 years, I've been leading global events teams. So I understand the complexity that goes behind all of the different types of events we do as event marketers. And so as we're navigating the different types of events that we have, they come in many formats, right? From trade shows to conferences to the hybrid events that we have grown into post the lovely era of the world of events that we just, kind of came through. Won't say the word here. And then digital summits, etc. And each one of those comes with unique logistical, branding, and engagement needs. It is not one size fits all approach. And so I want to help you navigate how we create different strategies and tactics that accommodate all the events we do, but making sure each one gets a little bit of love. And so it's really important to create tailored strategies based on those event formats to ensure the smooth execution of those events, but ultimately maximizing the impact. So in this session, we're going to look at event logistics, how to create streamlined frameworks for your planning success, how to truly engage your audience and make sure that you're creating personalized experiences for your audience. And then ultimately, we're in the world of technology. How are we integrating technology into everything we do, from simple data analytics tools to also the AI automations that everyone is getting on board with for the different types of events that we have. And at the end of this session, I'm happy to answer questions. So feel free to pull questions together, and we will go over those later today at the end of this. So event management, there's a whole chaos of event complexity that goes on with the different types of events we do, right? So we have multiple logistics for every single event, dependent on the scope. We have tons of stakeholders. Every event could have a different amount, and each one has their own opinion. They have their own likes, what they want. So how do we make all of them happy while not losing the focus of the core of what that event's impact and objectives are? We also have technology that changes every day. I think I learn of a new technology or tool that can help us within our jobs daily. And so how are we navigating all of those tools being thrown at us and picking the right ones for our team and our company and our events portfolio? So we need to strategically plan, we need to allocate our resources effectively, and we really need to integrate that technology appropriately and where needed to simplify that execution. So when we look at the different types of events we do, I'm sure as you're looking at this list, many of them are familiar to you. I'm sure there's some that aren't even on here, right? Because we do so many. And so I truly want to look at, virtual events from, virtual summits to kickoffs to webinars, training sessions. We have our hybrid events. So how are we bringing, and expanding our market globally with that virtual audience, but having that high touch live in-person engagement at these events with our user conferences, kickoffs, all of those type of programs that we so are regularly doing. And then our live events, right? Our bread and butter. It's why we all got into events. We love to travel. We want to go on site. We want to meet our customers, engage with our audience, and really bring those experiences to them through trade shows, board meetings, incentive internal programs, conferences. The world of events is huge, and these are just some, right? And this is a lot. So when you are in a team that is navigating each and every one of these events, it can get very overwhelming. And so how do you approach each one correctly? It's all about, in my opinion, consistency. Consistency through templates, consistency through branding, and consistency with the tools you use and how you're scaling those solutions. So one thing that has always worked for me that I genuinely think every single team should implement is really creating a repeatable, standardized framework for managing your multiple events. That's your playbooks. To me, that's your single source of truth of all things events, from your executive level strategy and objectives to who your, what your operating model is and who your work stream leads are, to then every component from the on-site experience to the pre-event campaign and post-event campaign plan, to your demos and your product environments, your ancillary programs. Everything's in this single source of truth. So you can take that and not reinvent the wheel for every single event you do, but rather use that as your foundation and your template as you're building your portfolio of different event types and scaling it to the needs of your events. So whether it's booth setup or messaging or event planning workflows, those templates are going to not only help you, right? You're going to have this resource, but when I tell you it frees up the bandwidth of your team so they're not reinventing the wheel for every event they do, and allows them to actually focus on more strategic decisions to maximize the impact of these events, it is a game changer for your program. So I always like to give some real life examples. Where I am working now, we have a portfolio of events at Deel. We have our corporate programs that we host. We have our strategic flagship global conferences. We have field events from intimate networking mixers and roundtables to trade shows to hospitality programs to one-to-few programs. That's a lot. And we are a small and mighty team. So how are we navigating all of these different types of events to make sure that when we are in APAC, when we are in North America, when we are in LATAM or EMEA, we're showing up as the same brand. When people see us, they know it's Deel and the brand they love. We are a very fun brand, so we're showing up that way everywhere. And we're very consistent in our processes internally to ensure success of that program. So we're creating events in a box. This is something we're working on now. So like I said, I am in the trenches with you guys. I've done this at events in the past too, but I am here working on it now with the team. And we're working on how do we create that events in a box playbook. So if my team is unable to successfully execute on a program for our internal colleagues, what can we give them that has the booth designs, the messaging templates, the playbook templates, the processes outlined that regional teams or our partner teams can go use and run with it. So we make sure everything's consistent. The strategy, the execution is all very much centralized, but who's executing can be spread out because we have this single source of truth model. We also want to streamline workflows. So we use certain tools. There's other tools, and I have a whole technology section that I'll give you some examples of the tools you can use. And you can think of using tools like Asana and Monday.com to assign those tasks, automate your deadlines that you have to have your deliverables in by. You can also track your execution in that centralized system. So you want to make sure that you're kind of building out what those tools are for you. And then that automation for lead follow-up, right? And so having consistent tools that allow you to trigger immediate post-event recap or emails to your audience, thanking them. But also when we get into the attendee personalization, how are we attracting and marketing to our specific attendees with content that is relevant to them? Having this in place, I promise you, is going to decrease your operational, workload by at least 30%. When I've implemented a lot of these tools and streamlined processes, it has freed up time for me to truly focus on the strategy behind what our events are actually doing for the business. So, attendee experience. This one is, I think, personally the most important, right? When we are planning an event, it is for our attendees. Yes, the business impact is extremely, extremely important, but you're not going to even get that unless your attendees are having the best experience and they're left with an impression of your brand, of your team, of your product that is keeping them talking. I still personally think word of mouth is the best form of marketing. With the age of digital media and all of the things going on, I find that more people come to you when they hear the good news. That's why at speaking sessions, I always like to bring customers in because people want to hear from their peers, not from the company. And so keeping attendees engaged is one of the biggest challenges right now, right? So it's a one size fits all approaches do not work, and engagement across in-person, virtual, and hybrid events needs to be tailored. They are different types of people. Folks that want to only go to virtual events are very much interested in different things than those that want to be in person. And so how are you tailoring the experience to your different audiences? So whether that's in a virtual environment, bringing in gamification, live Q&A strategies, I've seen virtual networking rooms, I've seen fun virtual photo booths where then there's a mosaic map of where people are tuning in from around the world and make it a little fun and interactive. And really making sure that those real-time engagement tools you have, such as live polls and those breakout rooms, can elevate that attendee experience. And then you can leverage that data for your next event, et cetera. And you're just constantly curating these personalized experiences for your team or for your audience. Another area where I think audience engagement is very important is at trade shows, right? So you have your booth, you have some swag, you have demos, you have things going on. But that's not going to keep someone in your booth and attract them to come talk to you. You can have all of the different types of information and swag there, but then you're just going to get your swag hoarders. You're going to get the folks that just walk around the show floor collecting tchotchkes for their kids. You're not going to get anyone that's going to engage in your content. So how are you implementing fun engagement activities at your trade shows to ensure that you have an engaged attendee? When attendees are engaged at third-party events and sponsored events like trade shows, you will see 3 times more of a conversion rate of that lead because they've engaged with you. They are interested in what you have to say. So this can be something as simple as implementing a passport to prizes or a QR code-based challenge where people get points when they interact in a demo, they visit one of your partner booths. You can kind of help spread the love and generate traffic to your different partners. And then also answering polls or answering questions, etc. And as they grow points, they can win a prize. And I know that might seem silly and it might not seem a lot, but it does make an impact. And really, if that person's taking their time out of their day when they have many other options because they're focused on what you are providing out there, that is an engaged attendee, and that attendee is more likely to convert. There's also, in the world of AI, a lot of AI personalization tools out there. So looking at your usual Salesforce and HubSpot on how you are pre-tagging leads at a company based on size and interest. So then you can curate follow-up with relevant content. What a CHRO at my company, for example, what a CHRO gets in their post event thank you should be very different from that people manager that is your end user. Curate your content that is tailored to who you're speaking to, and you're going to have better engagement. And then using video based, I'm really big into your post event sending a thank you video versus just that generic email. We all get 1 million emails in our inbox. And so how do we, kind of reinvent the wheel and make it fun when it comes to our post event follow up? So utilizing snippets from the social feeds that you have on site and creating a recap video, and that's in your follow-up email. Thinking of really cool creative ways like that is going to help keep your audience engaged. And now the big one, right? Technology. There's all different types of technologies, new ones coming out all the time. I just learned of a new one this year that I'm very excited to explore more. But at the end of the day, technology is no longer optional. It is essential for the efficiency and the success when you are managing multiple events. And it's going to reduce manual tasks. It's going to allow teams to focus on more high impact work. And those tools are going to allow you to not only keep your team aligned and responsive, but is going to ensure you have better attendee experiences for your audience. And so different tools out there are event management platforms like monday.com, like Asana, like Cvent, where you can track all the tasks of your team in one centralized place, assign them to who needs it to be assigned to, and hold people accountable. And then you can just duplicate those work back plans and those templates, allowing you to not have to reinvent and recreate a new Excel spreadsheet every time or a smart sheet, et cetera. Everything's in these systems. Then you have your attendee insights. So companies like VivaStream that will track and monitor every single engagement your attendee has at an event. So then you can curate that personalized attendee journey at future events and a personalized attendee recap for that attendee to then help them convert faster because they see, wow, they really care about what I did at their event. I want to now explore their solutions more. So looking at tools like that will also help you. You also have your automated marketing campaigns, right? So your HubSpots, your Marketos, your Pardots. If you have a more simplified program and you use something like MailChimp, there's a plethora of tools that allow you to automate your marketing campaigns from pre, during, and post to ensure that you are uploading your leads and they are being auto-enriched through integrations. Then you are sending out emails that are specific and tailored to the audience that you are sending them to. And then ultimately, data is important. We should all be making data-driven decisions when it comes to our events, and analytic tools for measuring that ROI need to be in place. So your Tableaus, your demos, SurveyMonkey for more audience insights and feedback, and then Medallia. So these type of tools are going to help you curate that overall experience for your team from a planning standpoint, but also for your attendees when it comes to personalization and engagement. And then AI, right? I told you I will get more into the AI. I do use AI quite frequently to help alleviate my bandwidth, my team's bandwidth. At the end of the day, if a tool has been made to help us, let's utilize it, right? So when we are looking at AI for pre-event content, thinking your copywriting, right? So how are you creating event landing pages, agendas, emails for pre, post, and during, outreach sequences, etc.? You do not have to rewrite everything every single time. There are tools out there, and I know ChatGPT is very popular, but I'm saying outside of ChatGPT, that's to me very basic. Looking at tools like Tofu, Jasper AI, Spark IT, you could build in your messaging house, your brand guidelines, what your product messaging is, all of those details. Then you could say, hey, I attended XYZ event. This were the type of audience members I engage with. Help me curate 4 emails to each audience member based on their touch points at our event that also aligns with our brand messaging and has the proper resources and call to actions in there. And it'll spin it up for you. You do a little proof checking, and that just alleviated hours of time for you that you can now focus on the strategy of future programs and how you implement that. So tools like that are very important. Then you have your imagery tools. You can now go into tools like Canva, Design Hill, and Adobe and type in a prompt of what you're looking for, and it'll help spin up that imagery so then you can build into there. I'm going to give you a firsthand example right here on the next one, AI for presentations. I use a tool called Gamma AI. I typed in the different prompts I was looking for, what I wanted to speak about, what my content was, all the different tools. Like I outlined what my content was, but I didn't have time to find like creatives and, color patterns and this and that. So I took all my content and I said, I need 10 slides that, summarize this content for me, create my speaking notes so I can present to XYZ. And the presentation you are looking at right now was utilized with this tool. And so I use this in my daily life. I don't just speak on it. It is something that I find very beneficial because for me, I am not a graphic designer. I am not creative in that sense. So I need help when it comes to presentations and summarizing what I have to say. I'm a talker. And so I'm definitely someone who likes details. Then you have tools for translation, right? So when you're hosting all of these virtual events, et cetera, there's tools like Wordly, SyncWords, all of these that integrate with certain tools that will auto-translate. SyncWords to me is one of my favorite. It integrates with event platforms like Ring Central Events. It integrates with Zoom, all of these different tools that you can utilize. And it auto translates using AI in real time. So if I am located in France and I am watching an event, I can either toggle to, it'll update in real time based on my location, or SyncWords allows you to scan a QR code, and in real time, I think it's like a 0.03-second delay, I can now listen to the presentation in French, even though the presenter's in English. And to me, these tools are just completely elevating the attendee experience that our global audiences have when they join us at events. So while yes, I know AI, I just learned today actually, AI and its impact, on our energy and environment, et cetera, there are ways to use it that I think really do benefit our event programs without, having to use it for every single thing you do. Then you have video editing, right? So this is another one, Descript, Vidio. These are ones that I mentioned in our post-event campaigns. You can take snippets of videos you took on site, executives, giving a little bit of thank you, and pull together great video content. This virtual event happening, with Event Professionals Now, this is something that every single, as they take the recording, you can upload it into these programs and it'll bring different audiograms and it can pull together different video highlights so that you can social media that out post-event as these little teasers. These are cool tools that you can use to, again, curate a better attendee experience and engage your audience long after the event happens. And then that goes into content repurposing, right? So content you use if you have a speaking session at an event and it went really well, or the sessions that you're doing at a hosted program, you can pull it into tools like Tofu, Canva, Snapsite, and it can help you curate blogs from that content. So the session I'm doing today can be turned into a blog based on the content I'm presenting. These are different things too, to again, continue to engage your audience. So other ways you can use tools, use AI post-event is, your data insights, personal outreach, audience feedback. So it's endless, the capabilities. And I do genuinely always say, if you can, look into it. I promise you the bandwidth will be extremely, simplified for your team. So I want to make sure we have at least a few minutes for questions from the audience. And so as we go into key takeaways, some things I just want to reiterate, technology is everywhere. It is non-optional. Leveraging AI, leveraging automation, event management tools are essential to streamlining growing event and complex portfolios. When you are managing multiple events across multiple regions, there's really no other way to do it besides starting to streamline it for your teams, or our already crazy workload, right, is going to turn to even more. We already do the job of many people and we wear many hats. Make it easier on yourself in some way. You're in control of your own bandwidth and capacity. So you look at things to help you and your team. Consistency through templates. Don't reinvent the wheel every single time. Create speaker repositories, content repositories, so you can use those at future speaking sessions versus every single session generating something new. Playbooks and templates and work back plans, they can all be streamlined to help you at the end of the day and to ensure consistency across the planning processes of your team. And then that personalized audience engagement, right? Extremely, extremely important. These are the folks that are going to result in us meeting our business objectives. So you want to make sure what you are doing for your audience is top-notch, impactful, and going to leave them talking about you, the event, and the experience they had long after the event takes place. And they talked about it to other folks. So using that data and analytics, that real-time, making real-time adjustments based on your attendee feedback, and listening to attendee feedback. If you do a survey and you hear and you see what people are saying and they want changes made, make those changes. Do not ignore it. I've seen too many teams ignore that and they don't make those changes in the future. And that's ultimately going to impact the attendee experience. And guess what? There goes your ROI post-event. So listen to your attendees because that's going to make or break the success of your program. So that is what I have for everyone today. I do want to say, if you're in the Event Professionals Now Slack group, or if you find me on LinkedIn, feel free to DM me, message me, Slack me. I have a lot of templates curated that are very generalized that I would love to share. I want to make sure that you're able to, take some tactical, handouts and resources into your day-to-day jobs and lives to help you. So feel free to message me, and I'm just happy to help where I can. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sarah. That was amazing. I feel like we need this this talk more than once. So for all y'all that are watching or coming back for the record, you can keep watching this. You'll have access to it. So thank you, Sarah. I do have one question for you. We only have about 4 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, so building consistency in templates is so important. It takes so much time, but how do you continually improve all of your processes, and how do you get buy-in from cross-functionally across your team to use everything?
Yes. I think one of the biggest things, getting buy-in right across teams is big. I have worked at many places. I've worked with many teams where it's, well, we've always done it this way, right? We've always utilized this. We've always done it this way. So being very confident in your decision. And at the end of the day, you never go to someone and say, this is what's happening without what you're solving for, right? So making sure you're not only confident in your decision, but showing what you are solving for, showing the examples of, hey, we've been doing it XYZ way. We've noticed our conversion rates are this, or team is operating at 40% over capacity. By implementing these changes or these processes and templates, this is what we're estimating our capacity and bandwidth is going to reach to, how we're operating or optimizing our team. Also, it's going to show that you did your research, right? And you're not just implementing changes for the sake of it. You really, really know why you're doing this, but also just positioning yourself as a strategic leader and the confidence in what you're doing. And then how I'm keeping up with my templates is I mean, part of my job as a leader, right, is to stay in touch with all the latest trends and technologies and tools and being proactive for my team. So that way my team doesn't have to be in the weeds of it. I'm working on building the frameworks, building these things out with their help, obviously, but taking the bulk so that way I can then give this to my team and they can go run with it. So you have to just kind of keep in touch in all the latest and greatest. I join associations, I join, great communities like Event Professionals Now to network with other people. And that helps me as a leader make sure that through my network and through those associations and those communities, I'm keeping ahead. So then I can, take that back to my team. And ultimately my team comes first. As far as who I'm caring for within the great world of events and making sure that they have an easy, painless process when they're handling the cross-functional teams and all the different events we do. And so that's just my proactive approach with all of that. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. With our industry, there's a lot of turnover, right?
Yes.
Like on the various teams, and we work cross-functionally more than anybody else. How do you handle getting that, dealing with turnover as we're speeding up? Because that's one of the things that creates so much chaos. And we only have 1 minute and 55 seconds.
All right. So when it comes to turnover with cross-functional teams, it's making sure that you are staying aligned with your leadership. So I'm very close to my leader directly, other leaders cross-functionally. And when changes are happening, I am reaching out and making sure I am getting who my new point of contact is. As far as changing it within within our teams, you just have to stay agile, right? I feel like Event Professionals, our mascot is literally Gumby, the green guy that bends and moves and does all the things. Because we have to constantly be flexible and be ever changing and adaptable to all different situations. And so I also make sure that across my team, whether you are someone that is strategic events, whether you are corporate events or you are field events, you know what your colleagues are doing in the other roles, right? So like my field event team should know what the strategic events team is working on, not the weeds of it, but should know what they're doing, and vice versa. Because if, gosh forbid, anything does happen and we lose a colleague or they leave on their own accord or whatever that might be, there's that communication there from the get-go and that transparency to help pick up that slack and to navigate next steps with the team and leadership.
I love that. I know a lot of people are moving jobs and there's just a lot going on in our industry, and events are back in a huge way this year. Like huge. Which
Everyone's
is why this event is happening now.
Yes, if you're not sourcing for your live events now for like 2027, you're missing out, because only so many corporate size, large scale hotels have been and venues have been, built over the last few years. And now everyone's coming back to live events. So the supply and demand is there. So for everyone, as a tip, if you're sourcing for events, start sourcing for 2028 now.
All right. Well, thank you, Sarah. We'll see you all in the next session.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.